Okay, so I think it's the time. So good evening, good afternoon, good morning to all of you. It depends on which region you are located. So today it's really our pleasure to invite Mr. Frank Hahn, the CEO of Rave Space.
Hi to everybody.
Yes, to join us together. So today, our topic will focusing on Metaverse use cases and the benefit. Today, I also wanted to express my gratitude to Commonwealth Chamber of Commerce to circulate this information with their member. So I also see some of familiar face in this meeting. So thank you very much for those of both new friend and old friend to join today's meeting. So in the very beginning, I will make some introduction regarding Metaverse and some of like the latest trend. And then Frank, the CEO from Rave Space, will make like the deep introduction and to show you how does it looks like in the Metaverse. So let's begin for today's talk. Let me share my screen. So can you see my screen now? Okay, so we are going to talk about Metaverse use cases and the benefit. So the reason why today we have this opportunity to work together with Rave Space because we are Metaintelligence, the consulting firm I'm leading is together with Rave Space to expand the market in Asia. So we are going to offer like the Metaverse service, the solution to all of you. So first of all, I think many of you might heard about Metaverse a lot in the last few months. And what is Metaverse? Actually, it's not really have this kind of the very clear definition, but we try to make it very simple. So in short, the Metaverse is a shared virtual space where people can interact with each other and the digital object. And it is 3D world that is accessible from anywhere, anytime, and on any device. So many of my clients comes to me and ask whether it's necessary to wear VR to enter Metaverse. Later, Frank will also show you how does the real Metaverse looks like. Actually, it's accessible via different device. So if we look about the history of the Metaverse, actually this can trace back to 1992. The reason why I put this history is that I wanted to make you to do some comparison, particularly how does it compare with e-commerce. So as we know, e-commerce was like started its journey in 1990s, like 1997, 1998. But it just began like the huge boom in the last 10 years. And the main reason is because people having smartphone, people have internet, so we can shop anytime, anywhere. So Metaverse is also like on this journey. So in our perspective, it's much more like the new way how you can interact with people. And I'm sure if you are the generation knowing what's the item on the left-hand side, meaning you may also be like the senior generation. So it's yellow page. So the reason why we talk about Metaverse today is because we think this is a new channel, a new marketing tool that everybody should consider about it. So think back to 20 years ago when most companies use yellow page for promotion. At that time, nobody is thinking about website. But today, no one use yellow page. But most people use website to promote. So before we have today's meeting, you get to know me and my company by my website. So I just wanted to say embrace Metaverse doesn't mean you need to give up your website or your YouTube or your TikTok channel or your the advertisement on TV, but it's just another marketing channel that you can interact with, particularly those young generation, and where you can convince them to promote your product or increase your branding. So I think many people also see the news that a lot of people criticize about Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook. But here I wanted to pick out an example. That is JP Morgan's Metaverse launch. So I'm sure some of you might see this news. So in the end of 2021, JP Morgan is getting attention from the public, and they launch like the branch in the Metaverse. But as you can see on the left-hand side, the Forbes criticized JP Morgan is not what you think it's for. But what I wanted to say is that in 2023 is a good time to enter to the Metaverse market because you see JP Morgan actually they don't spend too much budget to develop their Metaverse, but they can get the huge attention. And I think this is amazing because this is like the blue ocean market, not too competitive. So if you think about YouTube channel, maybe you need to spend a lot of money on that, but you still cannot get the same marketing effect. So later, my colleague Frank will also introduce in detail how do they help those like the big brand to enter to this exciting journey. So many of my clients also come to us and ask what's the difference between Metaverse and a game, and the Metaverse and the internet. And I think one of the biggest difference between Metaverse and game is that for game, you need to download like a file, like 100 megabyte or maybe a few gigabyte. So it is very huge. But in Metaverse, we need to ensure every single user, when they come to your Metaverse, it should be loaded within 10 seconds or at least maximum like the 15 seconds. So they don't wait too much time. And later, we can also show you how Rave space is that efficient and that speedy in terms of our Metaverse experience. So if you ask me what's the difference between Metaverse and the internet, I think the biggest difference is internet is the 2D version, so it's flat. While Metaverse, as you can see in the very beginning, we play those video in the Metaverse is the 3D, it's immersive, you can talk to people that you meet in the Metaverse. So Metaverse is based on the foundation of internet, and that's why people also sometimes call it as Web 3.0. And here are some factors when you enter to the Metaverse, because as we know, not only like the Meta from the Facebook, but we also have around thousands Metaverse platform in the world. And how do you identify which platform you should choose? First, I will say it's about internet speed. So if that the Metaverse platform you enter, you visit, it's very slow. It's not going to be the space you should enter. So I have this kind of experience, particularly in those like the Decentraland or like Sandbox. Sometimes it requires you to download the application, so it takes too much time. And later, Frank will also introduce for our solution. It's just click the single URL, and you can access the Fatis Metaverse, one of the Fatis Metaverse platform in the world. And the second is about graphic power. So many people joke about Mark Zuckerberg, why the Metaverse he built and why the Metaverse he spent billions of dollars. It looks so poor. It's just like the game in 1990s. The reason is why most Metaverse still looks not real is because it needs to balance between graphic and the computing power. So not every people, they have the very advanced graphic card. But later we will also show you how do our developer team address this issue, and how do we deliver the advanced graphic experience while we also ensure you have the speedy experience. And the final thing you should consider about the metaverse is what kind of like the people you are targeting. Do they willing to join this kind of new experience? Are they maybe the people much more like the internet native, or maybe those people are the metaverse native? So those are the three factors you may need to take into consideration. And in the last slide, I wanted to highlight embrace the metaverse, whether that is innovation or whether that is much more for survival. And maybe you were curious about why I say like this, because if we think about like the chat tool, like MSN, Yahoo Messenger, I'm sure some of you are quite familiar with this term. It's remind us like the time in around 15 or 20 years ago. It was very popular, but they didn't aware that mobile trend and soon replaced by WhatsApp and the Line and the Kakao in Japan or in Korea, and also WhatsApp globally. So what I wanted to say is sometimes when we in 2023, we feel metaverse may not be something important, but maybe it will just like the mobile in the last 10 years change you and me, our daily life. So I just wanted to say the metaverse is here, and it's not only transforming how we see. So a lot of people talking about metaverse is only VR. But today we are going to show you how could we participate in it in the metaverse. So I think I hope my brief introduction is not too long, because as most of you know, I was the professor at the university, so it's still a little bit lecture style. So that's why today we have our partner, Frank Hahn, who will lead you to the real metaverse experience and in much more engaging way. So Frank, I will pass the time to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, and also thanks a lot. I really enjoyed your detailed description, because I think it absolutely nailed it, and probably to adding this up, the main takeaway also for us as a company is that we are in the middle of a transformation from 2D to 3D websites. And the metaverse is not meant to be like, this is one metaverse, Decentraland or Roblox. These are like island solutions. But I think for us, the idea of the metaverse is basically the transformation of 2D websites to 3D spaces, and also the interoperable connection of everything. So before I show you our slides, or probably I can do that in parallel, let me share my screen. Can everybody understand me clearly? And is everything good so far? Okay, cool. Let me share my screen. Switch to this. Oh, there we go. So basically, I'm just seeing the presentation and not you guys. So whenever something is not understandable, Hahn, please let me know. So basically, let me first introduce myself. I'm Frank. I'm the CEO of Rave. We are a company that builds browser-based metaverse experiences. And yeah, we are quite young, but I think in the ratio when we founded and what we are building today, I think we quite did a good job, or at least saying we are on the right direction. So let me first explain what we are doing. Yeah, as I said, we built two 3D worlds running in the browser, and that's the key pitch. And Hahn did really explain it very well. what's the difference between like the metaverse term and having an experience you can live and directly instantly access through your browser, or like Roblox or others. This is like basically an online multiplayer game, but you need to download an application, all that kind of stuff. We basically started with an interesting use case because we are based in Berlin, and we thought during pandemic it would be great to have like a virtual event stage. In this case, it was like a techno club, which was also not the easiest case for a start. Because there are many things you have to simulate, which people are really aware of and really picky about. But I think we have done like a great job, and that was basically the project that we developed as a company, because originally that was our main business model. And then because of the technology we provided and the features and everything, brands and other artists and a lot of companies approached us and say, hey, can you develop something for us? So if we have time later on, the last thing I'm going to show you is probably the Rave space. But let me first explain a little bit about technology. I don't want to go too much into detail, but I think it is very important to understand two different ways of technology, which needs to be elementary for showing web 3D. That means 3D running in the browser. So there are basically two ways. The one thing is cloud rendering. That means like everything, like the whole 3D experience is rendered in a huge cloud of computers, and you basically got back a video stream. This is one big advantage, that you don't need to take care about any kind of detail, because you have a huge cloud processing everything. But also on the other hand, that's exactly also the disadvantage, because it's super expensive, as you can imagine. If there's like every frame needs to be rendered and then got sent a video stream back. And also, to make this running smoothly, in most cases, you need to download an app. You have a higher latency, or even if you have slow internet connection, it might work, doesn't work at all, because because of all the data running through. So our technology is based on WebGL. WebGL is a browser native, like let's say language. It's JavaScript, and we built our own engine, which gives us the opportunity to be really, really focused on providing the best quality possible in the web. And this, at the same time, almost no, or at least low running costs. The reason for that is the difference in technology, because once you download, and I will show you the examples later, once you once you access the link, you download the 3D file, and the whole processing will be done in your device locally. That means there's no transfer from a cloud or from outside. It's all based on your device. And this is very beautiful because, first of all, you could, I mean, if it's not multiplayer, you could even cancel the internet connection and could still be in this world, exploring the world, because, as I said, everything is rendered on the device itself. And the second very advantage, in my opinion, is that it's also running on every device. It's browser-based, so you can use it on mobile, you can use it on tablets, you can use it on desktop, and technically also on glasses. But we think, at least now, mobile first, because that's how people mostly consume websites, or we focus on these three types, but technically it's also running on VR glasses. So and of course also this security aspect is a big important thing, but mainly it's about the cost. And if you consider, there are lots of companies and big brands, they approach with the Metaverse, and it's just 1 month online, and then it's shut down. So this was more like a marketing story, but not something like we think is connected to the Metaverse, which is a sustainable and ongoing space. And So that's enough, hopefully, for the technology. So we created this engine, and because of this engine, our engine, we can provide like many use cases out of the box. So we can provide that the user who embed our metaverse can, of course, depending on what's integrated, having CMS to upload and manage everything what's going on in this experience. We have avatars, we have multiplayer, we have you can voice chat, you can text check. You can use it with a gamepad. You have different quality settings. There's a lot of out-of-the-box features. Mainly our engine is not, I mean, we have ideas, but as we are very focused to learn from our customers, our engine is, the engine features is growing with the case. For example, I'll show you later, we have done a metaverse for a soccer club here in Berlin. So we added physics to our engine. So in the metaverse, the avatars could kick football, something like that. So, and yeah, since we founded the company, we already did like super interesting spaces for big clients like Amazon, Universal, Samsung, and I'm gonna guide you through. But besides the brands, it's the question also everybody involved here in the call and is running a business. What we are developing is basically 3D. It's a layer on an existing. It could be a layer on your existing website which provides 3D, and this. So the exercise would be to think about: is this an added value for me, for example, to promote my products, to explain, for education, for community, because that's a really beautiful way to communicate with your clients, because you can do this in real time and all together. So so what I'm saying is that the use cases are still developing, and this is and also every brand has a different, is in its own bubble and has different demands. So what I'm saying is that, for example, some company that is producing medical equipment, they have a different use case probably than the sports company. But the great news is that we as a company, and also Metaintelligence also can provide the development for this, and we have the tools for that. So as I said, I will skip the Rave Space Club, and probably we have time at the end, but I just want to show you some examples of our world. And the cool thing about this, the first thing I got, just share my screen, and the second I would just share the link in our chat, and we can right away meet in the metaverse. So, but this one I would like to show here with my shared screen, as I told, we had this Rave Space Club, and the second project was was an NFT project from the Hashmas guys. They had already some other very interesting NFT projects, and they contacted us and says, hey, we have the greatest art forger in the world, Wolfgang Beltracchi. By the way, there's a super nice documentary on Amazon, and we have we are to have an NFT project with him together. Can you build the website? I said, yeah, let's do that. But our main stack, as I described, is building 3D metaverse spaces. I said, hey, let's go for a promotion and build a museum around this project. And that was basically our second project. And I still like it because it shows, first of all, the power, the beautiness of the movie, but at the same time, sorry, I cannot close the music, but I will do it. But this is something I would like to show, that you can be in the experience, like walking in the experience, but at the same time scroll in the website. And this is because what we are providing is walking the experience and at the same time browsing. So music you can do it by yourself. I will also add probably the links here. Right. Then you can explore it later on by yourself, because this is a single player and it's way more fun to do it multiplayer. So let me just go back here. So as I described, this is how I would like to demonstrate this, because you can see how easily we can embed it in even in a web shop to explain like a complicated product. So you could be like scrolling through a website, and if you have a product you want to get explained, you could then enter the space. Or as it is multiplayer with a sales guy, and this is interesting on so many levels. So there are so many use cases. Imagine real estate. You could now, for like new construction products, the sales guy can meet in a building which is not yet built, but could walk around. So people who buys it can already experience the quartier where they might be living in. And yeah, so because of, let me switch back. I would like to show you our second use case. And this was, let me show. So I invite everybody to join in here, because I stopped screen sharing, because we can directly meet in that space. And what it is about, I'm also going to be inside, and while I'm out, I can talk a little bit through. So because of that great arts project we've done for a client, we thought it might be super interesting to build our own museum. So what we have done, we developed this app. Did you get the message? Everything all right? With let me check. Yeah. So just click on the link here in the chat, the Musée des Centrales link, and we can meet in the museum. Yeah. So first people arriving. Hi everybody. Yeah. So here you can see it's multiplayer, and this museum was our basically our third project, our own project. And what we wanted to achieve here is, first of all, we wanted to build a bridge between traditional art and digital art and NFTs. And so we have two rooms here in the entrance hall, where we have like on a 2 weekly basis changing exhibitions. And these exhibitions needn't have to be digital art. It can also be traditional art. But of course, it took us some time to develop, and we also needed a business case. So we thought, hey, why not building like a crazy huge museum? And so this is what we have done. It's 4 floors in total. And the business model was that inside the museum, we provide 222 frames. And the frames itself is an NFT. So you can purchase the frame, you have it as NFT. You can also sell this on a secondary marketplace, but also this gives you the utility tool to showcase your NFTs inside the museum. And this was, please, I invite you also to walk on up to the 4th floor. I think it's the dimension is like amazing. And it was interesting for us on so many levels, because we first of all, will we sell some frames? Of course, that was a basic concern, but also who will sell it in terms of what will be displayed. So also this like this external curation was interesting. Now we basically have the chance to for everybody to display their art. It doesn't matter like what artist it is. Basically, that was also, and also everything is decentralized. So it was, besides it was a good project, it was also very interesting, experiment, so to say. And again, it's still something we maintain. We have in this curated rooms, beside the NFTs, ongoing exhibitions. And I think this is clearly an example how museums or galleries or whatever use case is meaningful can extend their existing, or like some means their existing space, or at least some fantasy space. And Also, by the way, if you press M on the keyboard, you have several settings. You can change the music. You can also change your avatar. So we use Ready Player Me as an avatar manager system. The reason for that is originally in the first experience we had developed our own avatar, but Ready Player Me is becoming Ready Player Me is becoming or is the most common avatar AI for the metaverse. So it totally makes sense to implement this, because if you have your customized avatar and go to another, it has to be from us to another metaverse, you can use it in there as well. What I think is also the idea of the metaverse, to have like this multi-operable, multiverse of experiences, and not like one company developing one metaverse. So yeah, so that is the one for the art space. I also would like to show you. Let me see. An example. Yeah. By the way, how much time I have, just to give to have an idea.
So we have 1 hour session, but maybe we can leave around 10 to 15 minutes for Q&A.
Okay, great. Let me. I want to show you then like 3 or 4 new other use cases. For example, if you we are. This is in a development state, and so therefore not live, but I think I super like. Okay, I cannot show it because I cannot control the music, but I can just explain it while I'm guiding you in another one. We are like recreating for Universal Music their new building, which they are going to build here in Berlin. And so they will have a pre-opening party in a building which does not exist, but also can use it to show their fans, to have listening stations, to show their music and all that kind of stuff. So there's also, I mentioned real estate. I believe, so please use this link. This is not multiplayer, but it clearly shows our quality of technology we can provide in terms of 3D and web. And because I believe that, especially for real estate, or let's put it also on another level, especially also for let's say if you selling furniture, or if you're selling some interior stuff, it might be a really added value if you are like running this kind of shop system, to have the opportunity to probably already pre-configure your room to get a better idea, or especially an idea of dimensions. I think it's absolutely makes a difference. For example, to be staying here in the case with real estate, to walk around and get a feeling, okay, the distance, how long is the room, how can I, this kind of stuff. This you cannot achieve by just the render from the architecture on a CAD basis. Also, okay, you are also showing this in parallel all the time. Perfect. Yeah, so also, I would like to show you, this is a more futuristic space. Let me show you. This one is a more futuristic space. It's we have built this for a Danish Eurovision Song Contest winner band. It's called Kino. They approached us and they said, hey, we want to showcase more immersive way our music, and we want to get closer in contact with our fans. Do you have an idea? And so we created this world where they wanted to have like abundant amusement park, and we implemented a lot of features they requested. For example, there's a huge live stage, and they are throwing like DJ sets and concerts on a weekly basis, and it's always super crowded, and it's super fun to interact with people from around the world. And also they wanted to show their NFTs. So they're, hey, Hahn, let's go for the Swan ride. Yeah, we wanted to have a kind of simple gamification. So I also go to the Swan ride, and probably I overtook you. Yes. Oh, it's a racing game now. No, I mean, you get the idea, right? We wanted to have like a really cool, interesting way to promote their NFTs. And from there, you can also redirect to another internal web shop. And so this is also an interesting use case. Also, I would like to show you something which is in terms of shopping experience. Let me show something else. This is also not multiplayer. The reason for that is, again, the question, if it's multiplayer or does it make sense to use multiplayer, this depends on the requirements and also what you want to communicate and promote in your metaverse. So this is just, this is like a super expensive bag fashion brand from Berlin. And they just released a new collection, and so we oh no, so that's the wrong link. Oh no, it's the right one. Okay, so we released this space, and again, this is just the link of the space, but they will implement it in their existing website. So there will be like a subpage or even on the main site, and people can, so they have an additional layer to promote their bags. And it's a simple like, yeah, how should I say, promotion tool, but also a very cool way to drive their sales at the end of the day. Are you in, Hahn? In the EVA space? I think you didn't share the screen, right, for this one. But yeah, you can also, everybody can try by themselves. Also, yeah, okay. Yeah, just for the audience, probably not everybody follow the link. So this is what we have done for this fashion brand. Again, we can embed it in every website. It's working on every phone. We can also, depending on what's required, we can have token access. Imagine you have like one space for the whole community, which is easy accessible for everybody. But for example, you have a separate room where you have like special shows, education, whatever that can be. So we can have like a gate, and this can be accessible via API from the client database, or we could also go for even a crypto token access. The beauty again, everything we develop is native code. It's not something like we have to. It's basically code the browser understands. Also, I would like to show you a very nice case we have done for Samsung, and let me show you a better website for that. Yeah, I will share the link here because this is a super interesting video. Probably, Hahn, you can play it. I'm not too sure if it's going to be transferred nicely, so I will also share the link. It's just a minute, but it clearly explains what was the idea we have had together with Samsung to drive and present their new products, and also to have like a very great experience in real. And in real life and digital life. So I stop my presentation. Hahn, would you like to open the video? And everybody else who don't want to see the shared screen can also open it by on their screen to have a better quality, because if it's shared, the frame rate is not like it should be. But I think it's super interesting, but I can also tell it, yeah. Yeah, okay, it's without audio. No, it's not.
Turning around. The metaverse sucks. I'm very excited about the metaverse.
No one really knows exactly what shape it's going to take.
The metaverse has been one of the most debated topics in the tech world over the last couple of years, with some embracing it and others rejecting it. So how could Samsung, as a tech leader, break down the barriers between the virtual and physical worlds? Introducing Reconnect, a one-of-a-kind phygital experience that blurred the boundaries between the metaverse and the realverse. In the realverse, a multifaceted space stood out in the heart of Berlin's most prominent boulevard. In the metaverse, an exact replica of the physical location, seamlessly integrated. With Samsung devices becoming portals connecting both worlds, visitors got a truly immersive experience by exploring them simultaneously. From creating AI artworks in the realverse and seeing them exhibited in the Metaverse gallery, to ordering a virtual drink and pairing it with a real one, before ending up at an all-night-long rave. Reconnect also became the launching ground for Samsung's latest foldables, which customers got to explore and pre-order from the Metaverse in a unique omni-channel experience. The month-long installation demonstrated the power of connectivity, amassing thousands of visits in both worlds. And instead of claiming that the metaverse can replace the real world, Samsung showed that with connected smart devices, you can make the best of both.
Yeah, I think I think the last statement says it all. It's not about potentially replacing. It's about adding a new layer and reaching through that channel. Yeah, more customer, more people, more like-minded, and I think we are just at the beginning. And I really like the Samsung case because it was like a really meaningful added value. It's not just, okay, here's a metaverse space, then people meet and that's it. I think the idea must be, what is a real added value to have it experienced in these kind of spaces. This is something I cannot, I mean, we have some answers. Hopefully I could show you. But I think these answers will definitely develop in the near future, but also with you guys or whoever is like running a business or even for leisure. Or I think we are at the beginning, and we are totally up to go that journey with you. And whoever wants to contact me or in terms of in the Asian region, Hahn, yeah, we are super excited and ready. And thank you, everybody, to listening.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Frank. And I am sure some of you might have questions. So if you have any question, feel free just unmute and start raising your question.
Yeah. So how much? I read the question in case somebody. How much time would it usually to take to develop a project from the concept phase to the final ready up use content phase? This this depends a little bit of the complexity of the space itself. Of course, it makes a difference if you have your one room or like a whole world. If it's like a couple of spaces, and if there's also not a functionality which we already have developed, please remind the chart with the out-of-the-box features, then it's done quickly. Like I'm talking about like 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks, something like that. But if there's some really sophisticated new gamification required, then it probably takes a little bit longer. And also it makes it, yeah, so Probably in a project that I've showed before, it's about probably a month.
Okay. I think Red, you raise hand.
Hi there. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Hahn, and thank you, Hunk, for the amazing introduction that you have done so far. I just have a sort of relevant question to the previous one that I have asked and raised before. In terms of, I know maybe this is not the right time to ask this question, but in terms of like, feasibility or commercial wise, so how much approximately, if you can give us a bracket for example, for the latest case use that you have presented, which is the Samsung one, how much approximately would that cost? An estimate.
Yeah, it's these. I mean, first of all, we have like a rough calculator on our website, so you can request a password, and it gives you a calculation, a rough estimation about how much that costs. But it's, let's say, if it's standard features, probably it's around 50,000 euros, something like that.
Thank you so much for answering this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, maybe I can also add some supplement to your discussion. So in addition to how much does it cost, maybe we can also think how what kind of like the benefit that you can generate from this kind of experience. So recently we also got a request from a law firm. So like their use case is they have a lawyer, and normally they have client come to them, and they wanted to build a code and a prosecutor office, and to let their client to have the experience, how does it looks like in the real experience. And on the other hand side, they also can have like the press release to get people's attention. This law firm is pioneer in Metaverse world, so they are also targeting like those consulting project. And the other example I can also offer to you is that as we know, language training is getting more and more competitive. So we also have like the language training school coming to us and ask whether that's possible. For example, if they wanted to have like the conversation, let's say in Spanish, whether that's possible, we can build an airport or a restaurant. So those students and the teacher, they can learning and the teaching all in the Metaverse. So that will be far better than just teaching on Google Meet or Zoom experience. So I think, so of course, I think for cost is very important issue. But I think maybe you can also think about what kind of like the goal you wanted to achieve in the Metaverse. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for answering the questions. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Yes, and I think maybe some of you might also be wondering why it's the time we should enter to the Metaverse. I'm just not sure how many of you still using Facebook. For example, in my generation, I am that generation of using Facebook. But I think in the university, many of my students joke me and say, Professor Chen, nowadays no one is using Facebook, but instead they are using Instagram and the TikTok. But for my generation, I really have no idea why people get addicted to TikTok, because eventually those are like a 5-second or 10-second video. But those are what you and what your client they like. So you have no choice. Even you don't like it, but you need to enter to this market, and that's the way how you can interact with your client. Yeah, I see, Katerina, you are smiling. Do you have any feedback or any comment?
I
You
have
would
the
like
same experience.
And I think there was one other question raised.
Just if you allow, can I ask a quick question? I know we are just running out of time.
Not from my side.
Perfect. Wonderful. Frank, Chen, first of all, thank you very much for a very insightful presentation and very good work which you guys are working on. As a layman, very, very basic question. So, we have heard about a Decentraland and other platforms where you can launch your metaverse, or where you can launch your company on a metaverse. So a very simple question. So if I buy a land, what is the guarantee or security of Decentraland, first of all, right? So I won't feel comfortable, to buy the land and build something or do my presence on metaverse, because I don't know the security itself of Decentraland or any other land itself. But if I work with a company like yourselves, which I can see the value which you are creating, where as an institution you have built, where if I need to launch something or if I need to launch my presence, we can work with you. Am I right in terms of the understanding? And if you can kindly, with your experience, clarify the misconceptions which people like me have in terms of the Decentraland and other similar platforms.
Yeah. Just from my side. First of all, we would develop the space, and we can install it on your existing infrastructure. I mean, we have a necessary cloud is mandatory. We use Amazon AWS, but we could also use something else. But this is the one we normally build on, and we could develop this on your infrastructure, so on your account on AWS, and so all the data would be on your side. This is one way. The other way would be that we are running this as a SaaS model. Then you have to pay like a monthly subscription, and yeah, then this would be hosted by us. So this and that's the flexibility I told you, what I explained in the beginning, and the big difference. To be honest, I mean, I would, if you're a brand, you want to be like and you want to have like this virtual space or metaverse, however you call it, then you want to be open and address everybody. If you see the figures about what's going on in the Decentraland, it would be just a waste of money, to be honest, because you would have to buy the land, and first of all, nothing is going on in there, like in terms of users, daily user basis, and secondly, you have this barrier. You need to have this a token to get in and all that kind of stuff. The stuff we are doing is, as you have seen, just accessible. You are in, right? I mean, we can also build a token gate, but you don't have to, and the data is on your side and not somewhere else. That's my explanation. And I'm not saying in terms of Roblox. I mean, I've seen brands, Gucci, for example, they launched their world in Roblox, and they made like a fortune of money with that. But I think it has nothing to do with the metaverse, with the idea of the metaverse, because that's an online game. It's a universe in itself, right? And they made a marketing space there, and they generated sales. Fine, it's working, but it's also, but that's not the, I think, from at least from my understanding, not the idea of a metaverse, right? Because it's like, it could be Roblox, it could be another company running the space. So yeah, so I think hopefully I explained the difference, because what we are building is basically easy accessible, better graphics, and also you can have voice chat. It's all not possible at, for example, Decentraland, and it's token gated, which in terms of brands is more, people cannot access it easily. They won't use it. That's at least our experience. Hahn, what do you think about that?
Yes, I think it's good. and I agree with Frank. So building the metaverse doesn't mean you need to buy the land in Decentraland. And eventually, as Frank mentioned, even that is blockchain based. But I mean, if that Decentraland is no longer exist, which means those experience you build is also going to disappear as well. So before we end today's meeting, I also just wanted to let you see what can you imagine, how can you leverage this kind of experience. So for example, if you see our website, Metaintelligence.tech, this is like the 2D experience. But recently, we also have this kind of, we add like a subdomain. It's web3.metaintelligence.tech. And then you can like have some interaction inside your metaverse with your client. So that's something I wanted to show you, maybe as a single company, or as like you have a brand. Maybe you can consider, in addition to your website, and to build your metaverse based on Rave space foundation. And the next time when you tell your client, maybe not check out our website, but let's meet in our metaverse, or check out our metaverse, and you are got to know those information.
Excellent, excellent, and thank you very much. And that's exactly what my question. So I think it's very much very clear, and would love to connect with both of you. If you can please share your details, and I'll send the official email, and then we will connect and take things further.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Frank.
Awesome. Here's my email address, or also connect with Hahn. We are really working closely, so we can also work together, and or we are already working together. And that's the webpage. On the webpage, there are projects. There are also demos where you can see the technology in terms of, for example, riding a boat or a car. So just to give you more ideas what basically possible. And so thanks again, everybody. I'm excited that so many people attended, and about the feedback. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. We look forward to having a further discussion with you, both Frank and I. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Thank you,
bye-bye.
Hahn. Thank you, Frank.
Yes, I also leave my email in the Google chat.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Wonderful.
Okay.
Very, very good session. Looking forward for similar more sessions.
Okay, bye. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. You too.
Thank you very much.